Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Caitaniya Caritamta Adi Leela, chapter 8. We are on the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada to text 20. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 18 to 19 states, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobhadayaschaye Cheta Eter Anaviddham Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. Considering the chaotic condition of human society, if one actually wants peace and tranquility, one must take to Krishna consciousness movement and engage always in Bhagavad Dharma. So Bhagavatam says that the current affairs of the society, why is there so much havoc, so much chaos, war, inequality, slaughterhouses? Why is all this going on? The root cause is because of our society, we have moved away from God consciousness. We are forgetting God more. And if we can simply become God conscious again, then all these social problems will disappear. And that's the reason Krishna consciousness is so important, that we become Krishna conscious and we give others Krishna consciousness. So everyone can live peacefully while we are here on this earth, in this body. And at the end of the life, we can go back home, back to Godhead. Engagement in Bhagavad Dharma dissipates all ignorance and passion. And when ignorance and passion are dissipated, one is freed from greed and lust. So in Kali Yuga, we practically have moved very far away from goodness. Our hearts are mostly filled with ignorance and passion. And what happens when we are in this mode of ignorance and passion? It gives us a lot of greed and a lot of lust. That's what is so prominent now, the greed and the lust in our hearts. And that's the reason we need to continue to hear and chant, hear and chant. Why? What happens is the more we hear Bhagavatam, the more we chant, then these modes, ignorance and passion, and the effects of these modes, they go away from our heart. And we can come to the platform of goodness. And after we come to goodness, we continue to hear and chant, we can transcend the modes and come to the platform of pure goodness. At that time, we continue to hear and chant. Then we can understand the science of God. We can understand our identity. When freed from greed and lust, one becomes Brahmanically qualified. And when a Brahmanically qualified person makes further advancement, he becomes situated on the Vaishnav platform. It is only on this Vaishnav platform that is possible to awaken one's dormant love of Godhead. And as soon as one does so, his life is successful. So Brahmanical platform means come to the mode of goodness. The more we hear and chant, as we said, we come to the mode of goodness. We continue hearing and chanting. Then we can go on, become a Vaishnava, become a devotee of the Lord. Then when we become a Vaishnava, we can actually engage in devotional service, pure, loving devotional service, which is based on love. How do we express love for another? We serve them. Whenever we say serve God, why? It's because this love of God is there in our heart. Currently, it's just dormant, is sleeping. We simply have to awaken. So we serve God, and this love will awaken. And what happens when the love is awakened? We continue to serve. Because when we love someone, we serve them. We can see we serve our family, our parents, our siblings, our pets, whoever we love, we serve them. We want to do things for them. to make them happy. So it's a loving relationship between Krishna and the devotee. Krishna serves the devotee and the devotee serves Krishna. At present, human society is specifically cultivating the mode of ignorance, tamoguna, although there may also be some symptoms of passion, rajoguna. Full of kama and lobha, lust and greed, the entire population of the world consists mostly of Shudras and a few Vaishyas, and gradually it is coming about that there are only Shudras. So the real Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are not there in Kali Yuga. Majority of us are Shudras and a few are Vaishnavas. I'm sorry, Vaishyas. Vaishyas are the bankers, the traders, the agriculturals, but their main thing is cow protection, protecting the cows. That's truly a Vaishya. So that's why Prabhupada is saying now mostly everyone is Shudra. Because we have so much lust and so much greed in our heart. There's so much ignorance that we continue to engage in sinful activities. Communism is a movement of Shudras and capitalism is meant for Vaishyas. In the fighting between these two factions, the Shudras and the Vaishyas, gradually, due to the abominable condition of society, the communists will emerge triumphant. And as soon as this takes place, whatever is left of society will be ruined. The only possible remedy that can counteract the tendency toward communism is the Krishna consciousness movement, which can give even communists the real idea of communist society. So Prabhupada here is saying capitalism is the Vaishyas because the traders, the business people, the agriculturalists, and Shudras is they support communism. And that Krishna consciousness is the greatest need of society. Greatest need, because it will help us to put Krishna in the center of our activities. And when we put Krishna in the center of our activities, then gradually all the lust and the greed in our heart will dissipate. The only possible remedy that can counteract the tendency toward communism is the Krishna consciousness movement, which can give even communists the real idea of communist society. According to the doctrine of communism, the state should be the proprietor of everything. But the Krishna consciousness movement, expanding the same idea, accepts God as the proprietor of everything. So communist, why is someone called a communist? Why is a particular leadership or a regime called a communist? Why? Because they say, oh, everything belongs to the state. Everything is belonging to that particular nation. There's nothing, you can't personally own anything. So similarly, Krishna consciousness is saying the same thing Prabhupada is saying, is simply expanding the same idea, that not that everything is belonging to that particular nation, but everything belongs to Krishna. Like Krishna is the proprietor of everything. People cannot understand this because they have no sense of God, but the Krishna consciousness movement can help them to understand God and to understand that everything belongs to God. So it's something to think about. We find ourselves in this world, we find ourselves in this body, but do we ask, who does these things belong to? I didn't bring them with me. I didn't bring all this material nature, the sun, the clouds, the rain, the flowers. I didn't bring them. So who does it belong to? That's the intelligent question. And we have to understand that everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Since everything is the property of God and all living entities, not only human beings, but even animals, birds, plants, and so on, are children of God, everyone has the right to live at the cost of God with God consciousness. That this is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. So we can try to understand that there is a father, and then he has many different children. So the children have to understand that the property that they're living in belongs to the father. The father is providing for them all. But if the children start fighting, no, this belongs to me, this belongs to me, this belongs to me, although it's the father who's maintaining, then the children are just creating disharmony between themselves. But we can see, sadly, that is the current affair, current um, what's going on, the current state of society. We are unable to understand that everything belongs to God. It's God who's maintaining me. So even the animals, birds, plants, everyone is children of God. And everyone has a right to live at the cost of God with God consciousness, keeping God in the center of our activities. So we need to become God conscious and give God consciousness to everyone. So we continue to hear and chant. And Prabhupada is saying this is the sum and substance of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is for us to connect back to Krishna, to connect back to God, understanding that He's our most loving Father. Is that okay? Let's see. Maybe we can try to read this. Swatantra Ishvara Prema Nigoda Bhandara Bilaila Yare Tare Nakaila Vichara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, is fully independent. Therefore, although it is the most confidentially stored benediction, He can distribute love of Godhead to anyone and everyone without consideration. This is the benefit of Lord Chaitanya's movement. If one somehow or other comes in contact with the Hare Krishna movement, without consideration of his being a Shudra, Vaishya, Jagai, Madhai, or even lower, he becomes advanced in spiritual consciousness and immediately develops love of Godhead. So now we were saying we are lower than Jagai and Madhai, but Srila Prabhupada is saying it doesn't matter. Just take up this Krishna consciousness and can develop our love of God. We now have actual experience that throughout the entire world, this movement is making many such persons lovers of God simply by chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared as the spiritual master of the entire world. He does not discriminate between offenders and the innocent. Krishna Prema Pradayate. He liberally gives love of Godhead to anyone and everyone. This can be actually experienced as stated in the next verse. So Lord Chaitanya is not saying, oh, you can chant because you're born in this family, or you can chant because you're born in this country, or you cannot chant because you're born, you're this particular, whatever. No, it's for anyone and everyone. And that's why it's called Mahavadanyaya. He's freely giving out Krishna Prema to us. We simply have to receive it. Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that the real spiritual master is Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya is telling us to chant and it's his order and we are following his order. And that's the reason we are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. He's appeared as the spiritual master of the entire world. We are simply following what Lord Chaitanya is telling us to do. He's the Yuga avatar. He's giving us the Yuga dharma. It's mentioned in so many scriptures, so many Vedas, the Puranas, so many of them are telling that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and he will come in Kali Yuga to give us the Yuga Dharma of chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So we may be a Shudra, we may be a Vaishya, we may be Jagai or Madhai, or even lower. We continue to hear and chant on the order of Lord Chaitanya and give this hearing and chanting to others. Give Krishna consciousness to others so they can also have an opportunity to develop their love of God. Is that okay? So we'll stop here for today. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare